So I think we are live right now on this Thursday, August 10th. I hope everyone is doing very well. Hope if you have any challenges or thing that's going on right now, you'll be able to resolve them as quickly as possible, right? So, welcome to the first edition of the Connection Catalyst. And since I put this idea up on LinkedIn. I got a lot of messages asking me what is this about, what are you going to be talking about, and things of that nature. And actually, I really don't know. I just want to put something out there, do a live stream, so I actually connect with a lot of the people that are on LinkedIn. I know for a fact that I will have a specific topic, and then based off of that topic, I'll give my side of the topic. Probably have other people chime in and give their overall opinion and things of that nature. But I think the biggest thing is just to start, right? I may not even know where this is going to take me, take the audience, take the overall brand that I've built. But for the most part, the main thing is still providing information. It's just instead of the recorded pieces of information that I usually put out there, this is information live. So with all the mistakes, all the I don't stutter, but all the mistakes and all the other things that come with being on live, I welcome it as long as no ignorant stuff though, right? I really don't want to deal with any ignorant people, but at the end of the day, it will help people and give them the tools that they need to move forward. For those that do not know me, my name is Eric B. Horn. I am a career and business strategist. I've owned my own business for over a decade, written a couple of books, speak, things of that nature, right? So uh, I think the beauty and the magic is when I have discussions with people, whether it's one-on-one conversations or group discussions, so we can really get into the midst of the particular topic. But my main goal is to equip you guys with the skills and the information that you need to win in your career and your business, right? I feel that success is a lot more to do with than just being popular, right? And in the midst of what we're going through right now, you have a lot of people that they don't have the success or they don't have the visibility that they deserve, right? Because they what they know and what they want to share with the world to help their tribe or help just certain individuals is not given the visibility that they need, right? And I do fall into that. I want more purpose in my life as more than popularity. I really don't care when it comes to how many likes or how many shares that I get, as long as I know that I'm in my purpose and striving to my purpose. That's the biggest takeaway for me, right? With This is my first time being on LinkedIn Live, right? So I'm still trying to learn the mechanics of it. But I think there is an option where you guys can actually chat with other. Hey, Charlene, there we go. It did work. So I'm good. I'm glad that it did work. Charlene, hope you're doing well. I hope the information, the great conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, you're able to apply that information. Actually, we need a follow up session to learn about those parameters so we can really start to dig into what we need to do to help you be visible. But uh, today's topic, and I just thought about this off the top of my head. I've typed out some things, but it's about the challenge of finding like-minded professionals to network with, build relationships with, connect with, or whatever have you. I had to learn the hard way that it's more about the quality of your network or the quality of your connections as opposed to the quantity of it, right? For so many years, I deemed myself invaluable because I didn't know a lot of people. Once again, I fell into that popularity trap also, as opposed to understanding that the quality of the people that I build with, I connect with, they help me, I pour into them. That means a lot more than just having or knowing a lot of people, right? I think Al Capone, who's who was a notorious gangster in Chicago, said, well, I would rather have 4 quarters as opposed to 100 pennies. Okay. Both equal up to the same amount, but there's less in originally are. That creates a strong circle of individuals. And I guarantee you, anyone that's looking at this live, they need to understand that the people that are quote unquote in their work network, there's even a subset of individuals that you connect with, that you relate with, that you build with on a regular basis. And once again, less is more, not taking away the massive amount of people. But once again, it's about being purposeful with your connections, not just deeming it and gravitating to someone to see what they can do for you. That was one of the things that I had to learn when it comes to rich and successful people. They'll keep you around as long as you don't ask them for anything, which is very unique to think about, but a successful person always has individuals with their hand out. And if you generally come to the person and you really want to build a relationship with him or her, and you have to have a reason why you want to connect with this person. People just don't, relationships just don't gravitate out the sky, and you want to connect with people just because they are, sorry about that if there was a glitch. Once again, I'm learning this technology, it will get better, right? But you got to understand your overall reason why you want to connect with someone. But even in the midst of 8 billion people in this world, 8 billion plus, you still have a lot of professionals that are dormant because they don't know the first or the essential steps that you need to do to start on that path of building relationships with like-minded individuals. So what I'm going to do is give you guys 5 easy things that you can do. If you've heard of this stuff before, no harm, no foul, but I'm pretty sure that there's someone right out here that's looking at this live right now, or they'll look at the replay, and hopefully they will look at the replay. They don't know where to start, right? And you cannot build the relationships that you want, both personally and professionally, if you don't get out there and start. You got to put forth the effort, because unlike what I did and my warped mentality, I thought relationship building was on the other person that I was meeting. Little did I know that it was more on me. The robustness or the skinniness, I'm just going to use that for a word because it is in the evening, of your relationships are geared towards you. You don't necessarily have to continuously drive the relationships, but you got to show the initiative that you want to connect with someone, the reason why, but even more importantly, where to go, or some of the things that you need to do to put yourself in those situations. So the first thing I would suggest is identifying what your professional tribe is. And this can be, if you are a professional, the beauty about being a professional is, I would say 90% of the professions out there, one, there are other professionals like you. You are not the only person in your industry doing what you are doing. But even more importantly, there's some sort of tribe or like-minded individuals that you can connect with. And that's more from a mental perspective more than anything else, because most people who don't like relationship building, don't like networking or whatever have you, they feel like they're on an island, meaning that there's nobody else out there that can even remotely relate to what they are going through as a professional, which it couldn't be further from the truth. So even before we dig into these other steps, mentally, you have to know that one, there are other professionals just like you doing what you're doing. And two, they are looking for you to connect with. That's a mental trigger that most people don't really think about. I didn't think about that early in my career because I used to be an IT professional before going into what I'm into doing right now. So from an IT perspective, excuse me, from an IT perspective, I was very introverted. I had personality, but I really didn't know that there were other individuals like myself, and that's just based off my ignorance, that was doing the same thing that I was doing until I connected with specifically, it was called BDPA, which was called, at the time, it was called Black Data Processing Associates, where these were African American IT professionals. So when I started to go to these meetings and these other functions that they had, I knew that I can actually see and I can talk to and I can actually touch other individuals that were doing the same thing that I was doing and that looked exactly like me, which was a mental shift for me, right? So once again, you have to know that have to identify the professional tribe that you have. And again, that's more from a mental perspective more than anything else. But you have to understand that in order to network with other individuals, you have to know that those other individuals are out there. And from a mental perspective, that takes time, but you have to reinforce that because you start to reinforce that. Everything else that I talk to you about, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it will be more tangible as opposed to going to work, going home, and thinking that you are the only person on this planet that's doing the same thing that you are doing as a professional. Okay. Number two, you have to leverage social media. So, platforms like LinkedIn, you have to understand that there are people out there that are doing the same thing that you are doing. And the beauty about LinkedIn is it's for people who really don't like networking, social media is a safer platform to take the next step to start to engage and want to build relationships with people. Social media is not the dormant task of knowing that, okay, I have to get in front of someone, I have to actually meet them and connect with them and talk with them. You can familiarize yourself with individuals and connect with them and provide your input and your expertise on a platform like LinkedIn. Once again, it's taking you to another step to know that this is another way that you can actually build relationships. So hopefully with this strategy, you're just not complacent in just building relationships with people online. Eventually, the people that you build relationships with, you want to take the next step and actually take the conversation from being online to offline. And offline could be on the phone, it can be face to face, or whatever have you. So even though you are starting out on social media and you're starting to rub elbows with other professionals, which is a safe space for most, eventually you're going to have to venture out and meet these people face to face, because as you get deeper into knowing people and building relationships, that's where the true value, thus you helping these individuals or eventually they helping you, will start to come into fruition. So number three, attending industry related events. So once again, with these professional organizations, 9 times out of 10, they're going to have some sort of professional industry related event where the majority of these professionals will come together based off of a certain theme, a certain topic, a certain organization, or whatever have you, where once again, you take the conversation offline, you take the conversation online, and then now you start to take it offline. And this is where the rubber meets the road, where you really are face to face with people, having conversations, and sometimes they're having conversations with you that they're not going to share online. Now, I know for a fact that, sometimes people think networking and going to networking events, they would rather go to the dentist or they rather jump off a cliff than go to a networking event. From a mental perspective, I can understand how scary it can be, but you have to understand what's scarier. Or let me ask you this question, and you can kind of put it in the comments. So, what would you rather go through? One, be a little bit scared, a little, which is all mental, be a little scared, a little frustrated, and going to a networking event, having conversations with people, even though you may not like small talk or whatever the case may be, and getting through that and leaving with some great connections, or being in a position where from a professional standpoint you need some help and there is nobody that will help you. And I mean nobody, not saying that you are a bad person, but people are willing to help people that they know. We all know the whole cliche, people that they know, they like, and they trust, which is very true. People will not put forth the effort to help you if you are a stranger to them, or better yet, you won't get the results that you are looking for um, in a fast manner, right? Give you a prime example. So I was working with a client and they were in the process of building their overall relationship. So I was working with him for about 2.5 years. Then it got to the point where we parted ways and he still continued to do the stuff that I taught him to do to help build these relationships. So unfortunately, during the pandemic, he got downsized. And I'm pretty sure people who are on this stream or looking at the replay can understand that they've been downsized, laid off, or whatever have you at some point in time. Once you're downsized, the struggle is getting another job as quickly as possible, right? A lot of times, the fastest way for you to get another job is based off of the relationships that you have and the strength of those overall relationships. Case in point, this guy got let go on a Wednesday. I can't remember what specific day, but I know it was during the pandemic. He got let go on a Wednesday. Based off of the strength of his network that he was developing for those 2 years, he was able to get another job by that Monday, even in the midst of what was going on through the pandemic. He clearly would have not been able to reach out and get the help that he needed at that fast of a manner if he didn't have a strong relationship base. So I say that to you. What's scarier? Going in a room, talking to some people, getting over the fear and over your nervousness and getting out of your own way and leaving with some great connections, or being out there by yourself and people not being able to help you because you don't have a relationship with them. That's a lever that got me out of my introvertedness a long time ago, because I would rather be a little bit nervous, get over that, and build relationships with people as opposed to being in a professional silo. I don't want anybody on this stream to be on a professional silo, because it is very lonely in the professional world if you are by yourself. Okay. Um, Number four, which kind of segues off of number three, is joining professional organizations and groups. Let me focus on the professional organization. I talked about this earlier in the stream that almost every professional organization has a professional association with it, right? Whether you are in IT, whether you are in construction, whether you are a small business owner, there are professional organizations that you have to make an initial investment to. And sometimes that investment, you'll get that back tenfold, where you would technically pay your way into these associations. But once you get into these associations, you're around your people, you're around like-minded individuals or people that are in the same industry that you are in, which can be a safe haven for a lot of people, because a lot of professionals also feel like they cannot talk about their work with their family, with their significant other, because they deem that they do not understand. No, I know sometimes that may be mental, but in a lot of cases, people's profession, you may not be able to talk about it and get the help that you need. And that's why with these professional organizations, you can build these relationships with other like-minded, like I've been talking about, like-minded other individuals. But even more importantly, you can gain a lifelong connections through these organizations, right? I would highly recommend anyone in any profession. If you even do not know the professional organization that exists for your industry, you can go to your best friend in mind, Google, type in professional associations in blank, and that blank is in whatever industry that you're in, and just start to do your overall research. see if there is a local chapter and start to get involved. That is the best way for you to build your connections and overall relationships, but most importantly, build most importantly, find like-minded individuals to network with. And then last but not least, because I talked about identifying your professional tribe, leveraging social media platforms, attending industry-related events, and then segueing to joining these professional organizations. But the last and the most important piece when it comes to building mutually beneficial relationships with like-minded professionals is cultivating mutually beneficial relationships. Now, we're all on this earth to be used, right? And that me saying that may be shocking to some people, but we're all on this earth to be used, but we do not want to be misused. So you want to make sure that the people that you do connect with in these professional organizations or that you meet in these networking events, it's mutually beneficial. Not only look at it from the perspective of what you can get from them, but you also want to lead with how can you help them. And I know one of the oldest, and it's still relevant, right? Oldest but relevant techniques is to reach out to someone when you have an article, when you have something interesting to share. But let me let you in on a huge secret that I do every single day. And actually, when people do it to me, I feel very, very good. And that's just checking in with someone. You don't necessarily have to have an article just to check in to see how someone is doing. And in this day and age, even from a professional standpoint, as a professional, they have other things that are going on in their lives. Some they want to talk about, others they may not. They would like to just sweep it under the rug. But just generally checking in with someone is one of the best things that you can do to build these mutually beneficial relationships. And one caveat that I had to get over was usually I'm the one, not now, but in the past, I was usually the one initiating the overall check in, which was fine because I genuinely care about people. However, sometimes people feel a certain type of way and they don't want to feel like it's one sided. I get that. If you feel like when you're checking in with someone, it's one sided, maybe scale back or just have a very clear cut conversation with the person to say, hey, I don't want anything. I'm just trying to check in with you. However, I reached out to you a couple of times. If you do not want me to continue to reach out to you, I will stop because you want to check in with people, but you still don't want to feel like you are wasting your time. But the majority of the relationships that I've built was based off of me just generally checking in with people. And once again, it can be a text, a phone call, a social media message, whatever is the best way that the person will receive that message. That's the way that you reach out to them. But just reach out. Hey, I just want to check in with you, see how you're doing. At a very high level, right? I teach a relationship building one-on-one class that takes you through a specific system that you can use all the time to actually check in with people. But regardless if someone is a CEO or just starting out, we're all human beings. So just genuinely checking in with them, see how they're doing, see how their family is doing, and do it more often than just on their birthday, right? Usually you want to celebrate their birthday, but for your message to really stand out, don't just reach out to them and see how they're doing just on their birthday. Check in just on a regular day. And usually that regular day could be the day that they really needed that check-in the most, right? But if you wanted to learn more about that check-in process, I do have a masterclass. I'm not gonna sell the masterclass, but just to let you know that I do teach a systematic way to meet people and more importantly check in with them, because that check-in piece is the thing that will one of the critical pieces that will do your part in carrying the overall relationship. Even in the midst of you may not never need their help with something, they'll still remember the times that you genuinely checked in. People love to help people if they know that they care for them in some way, shape, or form. Once again, we're all put on this earth as humans to be used because we should have a servant mentality, but we don't want to be misused. And the biggest mistake that I see people doing, even with these quote unquote huge networks, on LinkedIn or whatever social media platform, or even in their database, they're not taking the time to check in with their people. And it is so easy that people miss the mark. And the only time that they do check in with people is when they need something from them. And the only time that if you check in with people, the only time that you check in with people is when you need something from them. They're going to smell that a mile away, and they're going to do everything in their power not to help you. They may even say it in the nicest way, or they may not even respond back to you at all. But no one's going to help you if you're just reaching out only when you need their help. I wouldn't do that. And I have people reaching out to me every single day wanting something, and I ignore them because I know for a fact that if they didn't need me at this specific time, would they even reach out to me? And 99.9% of the time it's no. So I'm not going to help them. Right. But the individuals that generally care and check in and really want to see me being successful, I'll drop everything what I'm doing to help them out. I've done it before, and I'll continue to do it. And knowing that, that helps me because I know the like-minded individuals that's in my circle. I know for a fact that any given moment I can call on them, and they can call on me also. And that's what it's about when it comes to building professional relationships with like-minded individuals. So this live went a little bit longer than expected. I tried to keep it under 20 minutes, but once again, this is the first one. So I wanted to test it out. I hope you guys got a lot of value from that. If you are in the process of building a relationship, please put in the comments below, one, what are some of the things that you do to help find like-minded individuals? Because even though I'm giving my opinion on the matter, I'm a student also. So I would still want to learn more about what other people are doing so I can incorporate that into my relationship building toolbox. And also, since this is a relatively new platform or initiative that I'm doing, put in the comments some of the topics that you want me to talk about, or some of the other things that you would want me to share, and we can get that going. So it is, 7:24. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope this brought you some value. I hope that it served you in some way, shape, or form. If you are not following or not connected with me on LinkedIn, please feel free to do so. I know there's some connections that I need to look at and approve, because that's another thing. You don't want to let everybody in your circle. You don't want to let everybody within your network. You have to protect that like you are protecting your loved ones, right? Because who you associate with is a direct reflection of who you are. Now, I know I'm pretty sure that's probably a hard pill to swallow with someone, but the people that you hang around with right now, associate with, you are in that fold. For example, if you are surrounded around sharp professional individuals, people will associate you with being a sharp professional individual. If you're around dummies and losers, they're going to associate you with these dummies or losers. Now, I know it's wrong to judge, but we are in there's only one judge, right? I'll just leave it like that. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. But we've come to a judging mentality where, people will deem you based off of who you hang out with, how you dress, how you just associate yourself, and things of that nature. So take heed to that and use that to your overall advantage. All right. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you next week. Later.